Hey, games has always been my passion. No matter the content, no matter the drawings, no matter the interaction, that is always what I wanted to make. However, I know that even though I love RPG, I love resource gathering games, I need to start with something simple. I needed to start with something simple so that I can keep building up on it, so I wouldn't lose motivation like the many failed projects I've done before. So my first target is to make a 2D game. It is kind of similar to some of those mobile games that you see, with a lot of 2D icons and images, and all you have to do is just click it. It's very simple, but it does require a certain type of intelligence. However, I have one problem, one roadblock, is that I do not have that much artistic time to spend on drawing stuff. Because I know in order to draw a good icon requires lots of time, right? You have to draft, you have to do your Photoshop, for me it's Critter. You have to pay attention to the shadings and all of that. I just don't have time for that right now. But I really want to push a product. So luckily, Humble Bundle helped me with the 7,000 icons that they provide. And I got everything I need to build my first game. Okay, the game idea. So, I want to make a simple concentration style type game. And if you don't know what it is just a memory game where you flip cards to find matching ones, and you cannot flip all of them at once, you have to flip like one or two at a time. And this game is simple enough so that the game mechanic is easy to program. Second, the tag. As a web developer, I've always decided to use simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Although I do have experience with other game engines like Unity and Phaser.js, this game that I'm about to make is so simple that I don't need Unity or OpenGL. Also, I've built things with Canvas before. But this game is so simple, again, that I don't need to draw any pixel. Okay, so my first step, I started building a bunch of boxes and put them all under the flex box. And this is HTML, this is easy to do. Each box takes 20% of the viewport width. So you will have exactly 4x4 box in the game. And the reason I do 20% is because I'm counting all the margins between the boxes. And I've added a border radius to make them look good. Next, I throw in some potion icon from the Humble Bundle pack and amazed at the quality. I also put some radar background on each box to give a glow effect. The potions are the content of the card, and they are the back of the card, so I used chests as each of them. And I've decided to change the entire background to radar background because it looks much better that way. And have decided to forget about the cards because opening chests works just the same. Simple is better. Now I make the fade in animation for the chest with CSS, and I hope that works on iOS. More on that later. Now I simply change the image when I click the chest. It works. When I click the chest, it will become an image of the potion. Since the rule of the game is that you only flip 2 cards at a time, so I made an array to keep track of how many chests is open at a time, and it will close all chests when the player is trying to open the third one. Done. Now I have to link the ID of the chest to a different potion, so I can connect different potion to each chest. And then I've created the disappear animation when 2 potion has been chosen. Haven't coded that part where 2 potion have to be identical yet. We'll do that later. However, my CSS is mobile first, meaning I have made this web game fit on a phone first, and then I will adjust for the desktop version, which is what I will do next. Okay, desktop version done. So when I drag the window, you can see that the mobile version is shown when the window width is of a certain size, and when the window width go beyond like 500 pixels, then we have a desktop version or a tablet version. So for the mobile version, I use the proportion of the width of the screen, while on the desktop version, I use the proportion of the height of the screen. Next, I use the jewelry icon of the bundle to create a background for the web games, because just having one color or just a few color moving is just not interesting enough. Next, I added a simple CSS animation for each of the jewelry image to blur at different time to make the background more dynamic. So when you play my game, look at the background, you can see that each jewel is getting into focus and getting out of focus at a different rate. Since I'm afraid that people cannot see the potion clearly with all the color, I put a black mask behind the chest to make the color of the potion stand out. Going online, I found a great public domain SVG for the floor background. It's wooden texture. Looks much better now than the black mask behind the chest. In order to make the background responsive to screen size change, I add more CSS for the desktop resolution so it will display more jewels when I stretch the monitor or the window. I placed some placeholder text on the top of the screen to guide players, although I do feel like it is a bit out of nowhere. Which is why the next step, I use a potion book icon behind the text to make it look a little bit better, as if you are reading from the text. Now for the game start, I want to display it at the middle upper part of the screen. So I made a depth there and look. On desktop, everything is centered, finally. Also, I put some real game text into the text box. Next, I found another SVG online that is on public domain and force scale it to the game start session. Now I add two more icons, one for the keys to open the chest, that is counting the number of keys to open the chest, and another is the hourglass to count time. Okay, now I finally duplicate and randomize the order of the potion. I need to duplicate because I need two potions to match, and the key count will increase each time player click a chest to open it. Also, I've realized that there's a bug that if I click on the same potion twice, it will disappear. So that's what I'm going to deal with next. Okay, the double clicking problem is fixed and the stopwatch function is done. It will start when the player first click a chest. I choose to only display it in seconds because I feel like showing milliseconds is useless for most players. Okay, another bug's being solved. I made the area unclickable after the chest disappears. Before, if you keep clicking, it will reappear. And finally, I make the timer stop when the last chest is clicked and add some shadows for the chest to make them stand out. And I'm really glad that even though those images, no matter the chest, the potion, they are basically within a square. However, because the PNG are partially transparent, I really wanted the border of the image, like the chest or the potion, to have shadow around it. And CSS have that function. That is really good news. Okay, some people might ask, why did I wait till so late to solve the game mechanic? The reason is I really want to make something that looks good first before I focus on game mechanics. Because previously I've often focused on only the coding instead of how it looks. So that's why this time I'm really focusing on the layout and make everything looks great. Finally, the testing. So far I have only tested the whole thing on my laptop. So I use the developer mode, as you can see in Chrome, to display the web app in different devices like iPad, iOS, and different Android device. But I've always known that it is completely different when you put it on the web host, because when you test them on actual device, there is something different, and I have encountered that right away. First of all, the layout of the game on iOS is quite problematic, which is something I've encountered before, because in the Chrome developer mode you can see that they give you the entire real estate of the screen versus the reality of having the address bar on the top and the time and your notification bar with all the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi or 3G, 4G or 5G, whatever, and also the navigation bar at the bottom as well. So your actual viewport of your website is significantly reduced when you first load up the page, and that's why I have to adjust it after I upload it on the web host, because there's no way for me to test that I know of. So I upload it to a web host and I use my wife's iPhone, because I don't own an iPhone, I use Android, to see how does it look like on an actual iPhone. Oh, and I borrowed her iPad to do the same. So, just exactly what I was looking for. The problem is the layout is all messy. The top part of the game info is covering the game start session, so people cannot see the time and cannot see how many clicks they have clicked so far. So that's one problem. And the second biggest problem is that none of the chats for some reason does not display only specifically on iOS. It displays on my Android phone, my Xiaomi phone, and it displays on any other device except for the iPad and iPhone 10. So I have to go back into the code to just take a few guesses at what is happening, and I found it after like the second or third guess, because I realized that the CSS animation on opacity of a dev doesn't work on iOS browser. Yes, this is a cross-platform function, but iOS apparently don't support that, so they will just leave my chest invincible. So good to know. I will avoid that like the plague, as it has cost me more time than I will admit to figuring out. And now the game is playable, and I'm done with coding. Oh, one last thing. Before I actually released the game with the name Potion Match, because I thought that was obvious because the game is about matching potion, I've actually googled the name, and apparently it is taken by a potion themed game that is similar to Bejeweled. That is much more sophisticated than my game. So I have to change the name to something about memory and potion. So I call it Memo Potion. Like, you know, you're writing down a memo to help you remember. Something like that, I guess. However, because I really want a domain for my game, I Googled potionmatch.com and it is actually available. So I have decided to register a domain potionmatch.com to release my game. No, I didn't. This game is not meant to make any money. So why would I spend like $8 or $9 per year to pay for the domain? That's ridiculous. So I just leave it with some awesome domain that I wanted before. And there you go. Enjoy. If you like this, please comment and subscribe. And I will try to make more videos like this. Now I understand why most people don't do this, because it's really hard to keep track of your progress and talk about it while you're coding. Plus, this time I didn't use Git. It was just easier to have separate files because I would have notes in those files talking about what kind of change I've made and my thoughts on it. If I put it all under, like, we're talking about like 25 different commits, it would drive me insane to go back to those commits and talk about each of them. So it's just handier to have all those files available. Although it really makes the process much more messy. Yeah. Because with Git, I can track the exact change, but with different files, I don't do that. So anyway, I haven't included anything such as a click to start the game or an end game screen, because I really want to finish it in one day. Actually, we're talking about 5 to 6 hours, so I was really rushing to complete the game before the end of the day. For the next game, I think I will spend more time on the game instruction, the starting screen, and the display of the game score. Because for this game, I feel like there is so much that can improve. So, this is how I built my first game in less than a day. If you are interested in building game as well, I would suggest you to start with something small, something simple, like I do, and make a finished product as soon as possible. Because the moment that you get motivation to keep building games is when you release the game, when you send it to your friends, when you send it to your family, and have them give you feedback on your game so that you can improve yourself. So if you want to make games, do it now. Just open a text file and name that text file ending in .html and start drawing something. Because if I can do it, you can do it. Initially, making games doesn't have to be profitable, but the joy of having it completed will push you to the next game. This has been OCAT. Again, see you. Wait a second. Some of my friends, they're telling me the game is way too easy. A 4x4 grid, 16 chess, that's too easy? Okay. So let me get back into the code. Well, since I couldn't make it 5x5 because 25 is not an even number, so I made 6x6. That is pure pain. Wonder if any of you gonna finish it. Enjoy!